Hello, family members, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. And today with me, I have an amazing human being, someone who's been in our community for a very long time. We've had the privilege of having him on some of our summits. So if you haven't been to one of our summits, you're definitely missing out. And here's one of the speakers. So it is definitely my pleasure to introduce to you guys Dr. Hamid Elmyar. Dr. Elmyar and I have been going back and forth on variety of topics. He's very talented and multifaceted. Dr. Elmyar, welcome to the show today. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and what we're here to talk about today? Because I'm like, there's so many different things that we can do and talk about.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. L, first of all, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure and honor to be on your show and then talk to also the your audience. As you said, I my full name is Dr. Hamid Elmyar, and I am an MD, MPH. I always wanted to become a doctor, so that's the little history and why I do what I do is actually it's something very important to me. I ask also others like why I do what I do. So I started with being just going to medical school and studying and becoming a physician. And as you and I know in multiple, gatherings that I have a passion about the root causes of health issues. Either it's it's in pediatrics, which I did in my residency, and or in general for adults as well. So that's what I do basically is just focusing on the root causes of health, and I base that on the base of the definition of the WHO or the World Health Organization about health, which is not merely the absence of disease. It's social, physical, social, and mental well-being. So if we see it as a triangle, that's very important to not to ignore the other two important parts. It's not only the physical part. So that's what I do, and I basically reach out to my audience through my podcast and offering health education both for professionals, which are physicians coming to my show, and for laypersons.
Dr. Elmyar, given your background with the MPH, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing in the general populace regarding health? It seems like we know more and more about health and how to be healthy, but then the population doesn't seem to be following in that direction. So can you elaborate a little bit more about where's the disconnect here?
Well, absolutely. That's a very good question. So one of the things is just the misunderstandings about the health in general. That, as I just said, the definition of WHO, many people just believe that health is writing prescriptions. Either if it's a health professional, will be just writing a prescription, that will be some medications taking. And in the audience, the lay persons or people in general also have that belief that, when you get sick, you go to the doctor or to the hospital and get that treatment or care that you need. But there is a lot more about health, as I just mentioned. This misunderstanding of or lack of understanding and knowledge about holistic health and lack of understanding about the root causes of health. These are very um, important challenges to that people are actually having on a day-to-day basis. That goes back to lack of awareness. So the more we talk about it, the more we encourage people to learn about it. I think that these challenges we can overcome. And then I can just give you a very quick example if time allows. For example, recently myself, I became a father, and so going through as a new parent, going through so many things and adjusting. I have the background, so I study deeply about what's going on and all that thing. So let's say just an example of constipation in a newborn baby. So in a 2 month, 3 months, 4 months old, and then you just as a parent, you would be probably just reading, reading, and reading. There's misinformation, disinformation. There's also like unreliable sources, or even when you take to your uh, baby to the doctor, they'll be reaching like just whatever they have experienced with others. So this to long story short, in my situation, like the it took like a few days, 6 days to 7 days, and the doctor says like, okay, if it takes more than 7 days, then you have to start with some kind of like uh, juice. It's an apple juice or it's a prune juice or something like that. And myself being a pediatrician, and I studied all these things that the child should not be exposed to such things, um, unless the books so say some kind of like the medications that you have to if you have to. But these things I didn't actually make sense to me, so I was just like going deeper into, as I just said, like educating myself and then learning more about it. There has to be some other root causes, and so when I studied further and further about it, then I found out that the amount of milk that the baby was taking was not enough. Actually, it was we were the baby was calming down and he was sleeping well, but when I calculated scientifically, like the pediatrics books mention about how many milliliters that baby can take at certain ages, then I found out that that was not enough. Then I said maybe I just should increase this. So I increased the amount of milk that he was taking. Sure enough, like day everything was gone, and then the next week we continued this thing. So the problem resolved. No prune juice, no apple juice.
And imagine the other way would just cascade down a whole other path that basically now changes the child's preferences to foods and picky eating,
Exactly.
and the list kind of goes on and on developmentally.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So this early exposure is, I guess, one of the areas that, somehow we just get exposed to things that are not part of our normal development, and shouldn't be part of the recommendations on the professional side neither. And then let's say we get to a point where now we are parents, and of course we're trying to role model the behavior. We're taking care of our parents, the grandparents of our children, and there's a whole set of other challenges when it comes to health on that, right? Part of it is, of course, your balance as far as how you address your health and still address all the responsibilities that are on you. And the other part is being a deciding or a decision maker when it comes to your parents that, for better or worse, are now ending up having health issues as they're entering later parts of the year of life. So, what are some of the challenges there, and what are some of your recommendations?
Well, and that's a great point. So the challenges actually doesn't limit to only one person. I would just say that if you divide it into like different layers, as you said, like one is at a personal level where we see some of the challenges as parents, because basically the infancy, especially the very first few years of childhood, is basically the child is depending on the caregiver. So at the personal level, as I said, like as a parent, you have to educate yourself about these some of the challenges that the babies are facing. That could be like some kind of health education. Either you're doing it yourself from reliable sources, or you are getting it from your pediatrician or some other people who are experts in the field. And then there's of course the challenges at the community level, which is the community level. I would divide it also into professional level and also the non-professional communities. Let's say, as I just made the example, not saying that some of the doctors don't know what to do, but I mean, there are sometimes there are challenges that needs further, just diving deeper into the root causes. So I would encourage also in these type of challenges at a professional level, like if it is educational institutions or if it's a health facility, healthcare, a hospital, or a public or I mean private practice. So all these should be addressed at different levels. These challenges, that if there is someone facing just some developmental issue, then there should be some other the root causes. The example just I made about the constipation, every other health issue has some other root causes that you have to go deeper into that and see it. And then on the population level or the larger, uh, you know community level that you could institutionalize such kind of approaches. Unfortunately, the at the institutional level or policy making level, there are not that many attentions that it should be there to incorporate some such integrated kind of holistic approaches to health challenges when it comes to especially for kids. Of course, there are some really good, reliable sources to use, but then you have to encourage people to see such things, and then go after it and learn it and digest it and use it and practically in their day-to-day life, especially when it comes to children, because navigating the complex institutional barriers is not easy, especially for someone who is a new parent, especially for someone who is a new immigrant coming to the U.S. or moving to the rest part of the world, and seeing all these challenges. Like first of all, they need to adjust to all these things and learn it themselves, and then they have to make sure that they can implement it and use it for the good and health of their babies. So I think there's for the sake of time, I would just stop here. But otherwise, if there's any more questions, obviously, I'll be happy to answer.
What would be your tip for parents that are doing this when it comes to family health? Where do you recommend they start? And what would be a takeaway from watching this video?
That's a very good question. So I would say that started with educating yourself. And education, and education is very important. So my whole goal about just shifting from a clinical perspective to public health is just about health awareness and health education. And prevention is better than cure, obviously, as the saying goes. So there are interconnected aspects of health, as I just mentioned. I just want to reiterate on the definition of health, that health is not just this physical or the absence of disease, but it's physical, mental, and social well-being. So we have to see it. The I would encourage all the audience to see it from that perspective, either if it's their own health or it's their children's health. If you see it from only one angle and getting a prescription, I think that would be missing a lot of the important parts. Then I would also say that the advocating for a shift towards more of a preventative, holistic approach, that would be my tips for the professional, healthcare providers, that we can do this just to add a little more health education. If a patient is coming to the private practice or a hospital, besides getting the important necessary medical treatment, there should be also an integrated kind of approach to the public health, as well as preventative health, and what can be done to to prevent it from reoccurring or reoccurrence of such health challenges. And basically, that is the holistic approach to health.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to education, of course, having the right team and contact people is important. How can people connect with you and reach out to resources that you have?
Well, thank you so much. I have a podcast. It's called With Dr. E. So your audience can go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any other platforms. Basically, it's on every platform that plays podcasts these days. There's so many of them, and they can reach it. There are some, educational episodes in there. And I just wanted to mention that I'm working on the next level of my online business, which would be also mostly from now on will be focusing on the children's health, and more information can come through my podcast. And obviously, I would be sharing with yourself, with some other friends and platforms that we can reach out to more people. the bottom line is to help as many people as we can.
I love it. Thank you. And we'll be definitely sure to mention this and bring this to the attention of our audience members. But for now, audience members, please make sure that you take the time to pause the video, go to the bottom where the description is. And when you open that, you can find the link to Dr. Elmyar's podcast. Please make sure you click on it. This actually serves a bigger purpose as well. We need to role model the behavior to our children that we don't have all the answers, that it is okay to reach out and ask for help. And the world is not a scary place, that there are good people in it, and we have to actually make the effort to connect and contact people and stay connected. So we do encourage you to do that. Also, if you haven't already done so, click like and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of all the experts that come on our channel, sharing their expertise and their gifts, such as Dr. Elmyar, and stay connected. Before we finish, Dr. Elmyar, any final words for our audience members?
For the audience members, stay healthy, and especially when these days, there's I don't know if it's throughout the world. Probably the heat is really getting high, so just stay indoors as much as you can and stay healthy and eat healthy. Obviously, follow great people like Dr. L himself. He has a lot of content which was very useful, and I also want to use this opportunity to thank you again, Dr. L, for giving me this opportunity to talk to your audience.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure. And congratulations again on your new arrival.
Thank you so much.
Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.